It's another day and we're happy to say we're single and we're healthy and we love it that way. Our melanin is popping in the morning glow, and we're about to tell you how the story goes.
Oh, hell nah.
Man, it's freezing out here.
Okay, I be with my bestie. We got the fresh tea, so tune in every Tuesday. Don't be messy. Elevate your mind, don't let none get you down. Cause this is Hot Thoughts. We covered the higher ground.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of High Thoughts Podcast with your girl, Tonisha.
And your girl, Leah.
We are so happy for y'all to join us this week because we are talking about mental health. The mind, right, baby? And since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, what better time to, talk about it and share our stories with it and, dive deep. So with us starting High Thoughts Podcast, I know you were reluctant at first as far as like sharing personal things to people. But what we've realized is that it's really therapeutic.
Yes, indeed. No, it definitely is. I think I spoke on this matter a couple podcasts ago or whatever, even on our vlog. If you guys haven't had a chance to go look at our vlog, go look at the High Thoughts We Take Canada. It's really fun. It's about 20 minutes if you have the time. It's really funny. But yeah, no, like even with that, like taking the time, when we have discussions, it's just sometimes it's discussions that we don't even have outside of High Thoughts, right? Like when we're going through things. But yeah, this has definitely been therapeutic. We kind of talk about random things from accountability to being burnt out. All those things have been so helpful in moving forward. And what I've noticed is it's helped other people. So
right. Yeah, and that's basically the cool part about it, because when you're expressing yourself and you're being vulnerable, like on a platform like here where people are going to may judge you because they don't agree or whatever, it's still a perspective and it's still just cool to identify with people. So us being two Black women in America where we know mental health can sometimes be ignored.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Or we have harsher penalties for when we have emotional breakdowns and maybe do things that are not correct or whatever. The what am I trying to say?
The consequences are harsher.
Exactly. Right. So it is important for us to, talk about it just as a people as a whole, but also as Black women who have brothers and moms and all that good stuff. So, as far as when you were younger, Leah, like, do you feel like people talked about mental health? Like, was that a conversation that you heard?
No. Yeah, typically if somebody was a little, they would call them off, or they would say, oh, that person is just angry or whatever that may be. So yeah, we didn't really talk about people having like schizophrenia or people having bipolar issues. Like that's definitely not something that we talked about.
No, my household either, right? Like if I seen, what'd you say?
I was gonna say, I think the worst thing that I heard people talk about was depression. Like depression was a thing, right? Like I know, there are people in my family who have dealt with that, and it's like, it's a real thing. I know we've all dealt with our little bouts of it in fragments in a sense, right? Like luckily it's never been severe where we've taken any type of action or whatever that looks like. But yeah, I think depression might be the only thing. Like people be like, oh, I'm sad, I'm just not feeling it. And at the time, because we didn't fully identify with what that was or go seek therapy, you're just like, oh, well, you just need to take some days. You just need to, No,
100%. You just need to release. And sometimes it is a matter of talking to someone or removing yourself from whatever that environment is, that toxicity that you're going through. And I feel the same way. The most I've heard as a child was depression and stress, right? But also not knowing, like, feeling comfortable with a feeling, in a sense of, I know I never battled depression. I think 2020 was the first time I ever really felt depressed. But as a child, I did feel sometimes, I guess, lonely.
Mhm.
And I know when you speak of that, sometimes people say, like, well, you need to feel comfortable with yourself. And it's like, yeah, but I understand what you're saying. And I agree with that. You should feel centered with yourself, but also understanding that it's okay to express, hey, I feel lonely and I need a hug, or I want someone to talk to. Because thankfully for myself, it never rolled into anything deeper than that. But hell, it's like, if I'm saying that to you, I don't want you to tell me, well, go get with God, you be all right. I want someone to talk to, right? So the great thing about now, and that's the upside to social media, that you have so many people who express themselves on there with whatever battles they're going through. So you don't feel alone in that aspect, but also with that social media world.
That's what I was gonna say. Social media has been a great, like, to lead in that. Social media has been a great catalyst to knock down the barriers or the stigma of mental health, knock down what a depressed person looks like, right? Because we typically think, oh, this person's depressed, they are not smiling, maybe they're wearing like black clothes, right? Like whatever type of stereotypes you had about depression, it's not real, right? We see people walk around every day with smiles on their face, but internally they're so depressed. You hear the helicopter? Okay, that's why I was like, let me stop. Okay, let me go back into it. So with that being said, social media has definitely played a part in, like I said, destigmatizing what depression or just mental health looks like, but also it is a catalyst to like, you know, how do we say, like, make it look bigger, magnetize that depression or that mental anxiety that people have. You know, it's just a whole nother thing what social media has done.
Right. It's exactly, because with anything good, there's bad. So with the good of it all, you being exposed to more people being open with their stories and their battles is a great plus. But on the other side, it's trying to keep up with the Joneses. Her body or his body looks like this, or they're this age and they're saying that they have this amount of money and a family and they're able to do it all, but I'm not doing the same thing as them. Those are things that are getting people down, because you're comparing yourself, right? And you're stuck in this, like, if they're doing it, why isn't it not happening for me? Exactly, right? So it's that pressure too. And I know for a lot of people, I've talked to, younger people, some of my cousins, and I'm like, when you're on social media and you see someone is doing something and they're your age, how does it make you feel? And she basically was like, it makes me feel, sometimes I look and I just say, oh, they look like they're living the best life ever. And I'm just here. And that's when the instant gratification, because my question then was, well, what are you going to do to make it better for yourself?
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? So it like, that's where social media can become, and as we all notice, everyone is getting plastic surgery at this point. So a lot of women are starting to look alike. And that's even I mean, like I said, I feel like if you're not happy with your body, do what you got to do. Do what makes you happy.
Right.
I'm not against that. But it does say something to the mind when you literally want to look like everyone you see.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So, like, where is their mental at? Like, what has distorted, you know what I mean? Like, obviously we know what has, right? The media pictures, what has distorted your view of beauty. But yeah, I don't know. So social media is a lot. Do you think that, you have a child? Do you think that social media plays a part or any role in his feeling that he needs to be accepted or anything like that?
So far, no, because he doesn't have Instagram. Now he is on TikTok, and TikTok that's a whole nother realm of things, because he comes to me with like, yo, you seen this, you seen that. But I feel like Instagram is a bit much for him.
Okay.
At this age, I think at 13, I don't think children should have it, because it causes too much confliction and
comparison
stuff. But I mean, it's crazy, because when you really think about it, the maturity level of a child is not developed enough, in my opinion, to handle those platforms. But at the same time, we see how these adults act on these platforms as well. And you're a 30-something-year-old individual, and you're acting like a child. Like, you brought all your issues to social media, or you brought all your anxiety and trauma to social media. Don't get me wrong. I do think it's a place where you express yourself. But when it gets to that point where you feel like you're about to tip over, you need to call some help and really have someone who can help you.
Yeah.
Because these people out here will have your ass looking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't even have a comment.
No, and that takes me into like when you and I were talking about like relationships and like relationship goals, and you're looking online and you're seeing people in these relationships, and you're like, I want mine to be just like that. And it's like, you don't even know what they're going through. It's a picture.
It's
just a picture. But because they're on a yacht and they're all moisturized up and looking greasy and shiny, they must be happy.
Yes, moisturize this summer. SPF is important. No, you're right. And it's weird because somebody said this to me a long time ago, and this was in a business. We were like in a business meeting, and they were like, oh yeah, they're a model, they're on social media, da 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 da. And then the guy in the room was like, sometimes I work in my garage. Does that make me a car? Like, just because I put something out there, like, or whatever, it doesn't make me that thing. It's just that moment, right? Like, even with those moments for social media, like, oh babe, let's take a picture real quick of us holding hands. Like, yes, you may want in one day in your life, especially if you're younger, if you've never had a relationship, which that's part of life. Experience as many relationships as you can until you find that person, right? But yeah, like, you're gonna hold hands. I hope one day somebody holds your hand that you love, like, but don't look at, like, again, a great example of that is people who put their relationship out there for the public, and then the public feels they have the right to scrutinize that relationship. A great point is Quavo and Sweetie, because that was a more recent, they're a younger relationship. They're both in their 20s. So, we've all been there in those situations where you're having a little bit of an argument, and it turns into a little bit of a scuffle. But, it looks like nobody was really hurt, right? She might've broke a toenail, and I already know that that'll piss you off. I hate breaking my nails, so I feel her. But in those type of situations, right? They had a very public relationship. They've been doing interviews together. They've done music videos together. They let the world know that their relationship is here, right? And so then when they break up and she announces it like on Twitter, like, hey, and she only announced it seemed like because people were coming at her about like, why aren't you with Quavo type thing. So, her announcing it, and it seemed like he got upset that she announced the breakup. So with that being said, he got upset for something that the whole world needed to know in her mind, right? Or even her fans, right? Like, our fans think we're together. I don't want our fans thinking we're together if we're not together, especially because they are done, right? She's like, I'm moving on, you're moving on. I don't want them sending me DMs about you. I don't, because you get that. So you got to make things clear. Because I know even as a regular girl, right? You got to make it clear, I'm not even dealing with him no more, girl. So don't even tell me about bro. Like, I don't even want to know him. Like, I don't know him. Who is that man? I feel like Keke Palmer. I do not know that man. He doesn't register to me. So yeah, I think those type of things, they have to be put kind of on Front Street, because you've shown us so much. You've shown us you're good. So like, yeah, we're gonna want to know if you're doing bad, because that's just people. People like to see your downfall too. So that's the only reason. I know that's why I can be private on social media, because I'm like, I don't got time for people to be preying on me and my boo's downfall.
No, definitely. And then when that joke goes into the whole, once they announce their relationship breakup, and now everybody comes down on him or comes down on her, and then that's where the depression or the pressure, stress, whatever it may be, on these artists. I mean, there's so many artists that have passed away from, accidental overdose or things of that nature. And there's a lot of artists who suffer from depression, and that's just a big thing in that culture, because being scrutinized constantly is hard.
Yeah.
And, it's hard. And like you said, you have to be really strategic about what you're letting people in on, because now you're the regular person, if 50 of your came down on you, that will be really challenging to deal with. Like, what I'm saying?
Like, first of all, y'all need to get out of my business, because he wasn't with you, or maybe he was. Tell me, But like, yeah, like, you obviously, the natural thing is to keep people out of your game room, right? Like, no one wants people telling them about their own, like, it's just a lot. But social media, again, it's the pressure of it all, the pressure to look good, the pressure to have the most money, I guess, the pressure to have the biggest butt is so much. Yeah. And
I think that's what they were just saying. I was reading articles about just mental health and things of that nature. And there was an article online that I read, and it was about mental health in the Black community. But it dug a little deeper. It went into, how when you say, like, if you travel outside the country and you may say that folks over there are nicer, like Black people over there are nicer than maybe an African-American individual. And realizing that the African-American culture or the things that we've been through have brought us to this point of sometimes we can be a little edgy, because one thing we're not going to tolerate is disrespect. And you know what I'm trying to say? We're not going to tolerate disrespect. And when whether it be a Black man or a Black woman, when we speak on that to a certain audience, they're trying to diminish the way we feel and things of that nature. And just the whole struggle of our culture as far as trying to find a job, trying to just navigate through this world where a lot of our men are, become felons at young ages. So all that brings in depression and schizophrenia and all those other different health issues. And it trickles into our community, and it causes for people to act out. And that's what the article basically was saying, how it's beyond the surface. This is something that is embedded and that has we're traumatized. That's where we're traumatized. And when you're traumatized and then they're saying, don't talk about it, now what? Right. So, it all becomes a weight. But I do, like I said, I like the fact that you have resources where you can go out and get help, have someone to talk to. And now speaking to a therapist it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like normal at this point.
It is normal, definitely. Like, people pass around their therapist number, like, Like they pass around like a number to a restaurant. So it's nothing, you know what I mean? Like they're just like, oh, find the one that's perfect for you. Like I know that there's a website that I've used and it's called Therapy for Black Girls. And I like that one. And it's cool. They don't discriminate. They do cater to men as well. And they do cater to other people of color. But because there isn't a lot of us there, it's a website and it's a network, like basically like a Yelp for therapy for Black women, right? So there's men, women, all types, and they specialize in different things, whether it's like child psychology or, just whatever. There's a big spectrum, as we know. So that'll be a good resource to check out.
Look, I'm like, I need to check that out. So how does it work? Like, did you follow through with it, or you did some research on it?
No, definitely follow through with it. So yeah, you go on the website and you type in your area and you'll see a whole bunch of different therapists. And like I said, they're from all different ages. And that was the cool thing for me. I know I talked to a woman who she looked to be a little bit older than me. And then when we talked on the phone, I felt like, okay, she's around my age or just a couple years, and so I did like that. But there are also older women. But yeah, you put in the information, you see a whole bunch of list of women. There might be 15 to 30 or more. And then you click on the people, they give you their phone number, where they are. And yeah, you can call them up. They'll give you a little consultation to see if you're interested. So that's what I did like you can call them and see if you even want to move forward with them. And so that was really cool. I will say the only downside is, of course, anything for Black women there's always a barrier. So insurance typically does not cover those type of therapists. But what's weird is they're not in network. Let me say. So, in network therapists, there are a ton that are white, right? There are a ton of Caucasian in network therapists that your insurance cover. So I don't know if there's a way to, to fight for these therapists to be in network, because listen, we are the ones who make the least amount, but you want us to pay more for our mental health. You know what I mean? Like that's always the cycle for Black people, right? Is we always have to pay more at the grocery store because we live in areas maybe, more Black populated areas, they have higher grocery prices. I've seen it myself, living in predominantly white neighborhoods or whatever you want to say, more of a mixed neighborhood, whatever. You see that there, it's more food deserts in the hoods and, areas that house people of color. So it's always definitely some discriminatory situations going on, but at the end of the day, look it up, do your research, and find a therapist for you. And maybe they don't need to be a Black woman or a man, but find somebody for you if you feel like you need that. The stigma is so down, right? You got people like Charlemagne the God, who is always preaching mental health, mental health, mental health. He says it so much, it's really tiring, but I appreciate him pushing it out there for the young people that do listen to him and older people that listen to him. Like, he has a platform and I'm glad that he is using it wisely.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I'm going to definitely look into that therapist, because
yeah. You see what I'm talking about, y'all? Sometimes we won't even be talking about things. We wait for the podcast. We save it all for y'all.
I didn't even know that, but literally, so we're just gonna be honest. I'm really afraid to talk to a therapist after losing my boyfriend, because I don't know if I'm ready to acknowledge or deal with those emotions, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what that looks like, having to sort through them and what that navigation is going to feel like. Yeah. So I'm really scared, but I think I need it. I think I've always said I wanted therapy for multiple reasons, like even just for that, for grieving. Also, me and Leah always talk about my son, and there's been things that have come to my attention that my child has said to me, and that my boyfriend had said to me, and that people say to me. So and you brush it off, and then you realize, okay, well, maybe I should work on it, or maybe why am I like that? So my issue is like, why does mommy spaz? And I don't feel like I spaz crazy, but I'm like, I get a little like, and I'm like, okay, wait, I want to work on that.
Mhm.
And I want to be a better listener. Like I want, especially to my son and to men, honestly, because when a man talks, I'll have I'm listening, but I ain't listening. Like I'm listening, but I ain't listening for real.
Wait, but specifically when a man talks, you got like a filter on your ear?
Yeah, when a man talks, it'd be like, I can be very selfish.
That's so funny.
I can be selfish, right? And then I noticed like, or very much so get over it, right?
Mhm.
And I was like that with my own son, like, get over it, you're a man, like, get over it.
And he's like, no, mom.
And he's like, no, mom, my feelings are hurt too. And so then you realize, then you dive into, I know for me, I started thinking, okay, my relationship with my father and things of that nature. And what does that look like for Tonisha? And how am I taking those issues into raising my son or into dating men? So there's a lot of things that I just want to learn about myself and learn how to handle things in a way. I am a calm person, but sometimes I think I'm not even too calm, but sometimes I wish I had more of a, don't be so afraid of the confrontation. Because you don't have to be confrontational in a nasty manner. Now, if the person wants to be nasty, then that's on them. But being more open and expressive of, hey, but I'm feeling like this, instead of like having an explosion.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. Yeah, because I know you and I deal with you on different levels. So I guess because yes, I do know you to be more of a calming force, especially when it comes to our business, right? Like you keep it level head, and I'm
not like that.
Yeah,
because you be on it, so we don't need to.
No, we definitely don't need to. We don't need two of Leah's. That would be a lie. I always wondered what it would like being a twin, and I don't know if I'd want to know that, because I don't know if I'd want to deal with myself.
Listen, no, I think in business, like I feel like as far as that, I met the perfect rider when it comes to that, because I'm like, yo, Leah gonna bark. You better watch your back, because Leah gonna tag that ass. So in that arena, I actually feel really like I feel confident in that, because I'm like, okay, I'm cool. We have our space, and we don't step on each other's toes.
That's what it is. We have our space. I'd be like, please handle this in the calm way that you're going to do so, because I can't. I can't be calm.
No, I think that arena is perfect, but I think mine is more in relationships.
Yeah, no, I can understand that, because we are different with our friends than we are with the man that we're with. I totally get it as well. I'm sure that I'm a little difficult, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I've never dated me.
I don't know, because with me, you're expressive. I know with you, if I have a problem, I don't fear being expressive, or I don't fear being vulnerable to you. Like if I don't like something, like Leah, leave me alone, or things of that nature, I don't mind. But with a guy, either I'm gonna not talk, I'm gonna just shut down completely, or I'm gonna have an explosion.
Yeah.
I'm like, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's definitely another episode. Maybe one day y'all let us know. Should we bring some people on here to tell us what it was like dating us? I don't know. Oh. That would be a lit episode, let me tell you.
So with me wanting therapy and just helping me in relationships and things of that nature, is there anything that you feel you would want to work on, or as far as how that whole thing correlates as from childhood to adulthood and dealing with your partner?
Well, Tanisha, it's kind of hard because I'm pretty perfect. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed being my friend, but yeah. So, but no, obviously there are a ton of things I could work on just for myself. And I think I've taken that time. Quarantine has kind of given me that time. And also, I would say the past like maybe 3 years has given me that time to really focus back on me and really figure out what I want and what I won't tolerate. And I know that I need to be more open-minded and trust men more. That is something that is a struggle for me. In my past is trust, even men trusting me is something that I've noticed. Like, what am I giving off? Maybe because I'm being so closed off, or because I can be private. Like, even when I'm dating a guy, there are certain things that I like to keep to myself until we're in that next stage. Like, obviously we're living together, it's different, right? I've only lived with one man, but yeah, like, I think maybe that's a part of it, like me having my trust issues. And that's what makes me keep things private. Because I'm like, I can't tell you everything. You might use it against me, or you might leave, or, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's those problems, same daddy issues, right? Like, that also fucks up my trust a lot with men. Yeah, all those type of things, right? Like, I would definitely seek therapy if I was looking for relationship things. It would be that, but I feel like I am. I don't know if it's because, like I said, I don't know if it's the open-mindedness that I need to keep, because I feel like I am pretty open-minded when it comes to men and their lifestyles. Like, I'm a very flexible person because I don't like being taken out of my comfort zone, or I don't like being taken out of my element when I'm in it. So I understand when a man's like, oh no, I like it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very particular too. So I get it. Right. But yeah, I would say that I would definitely, those trust issues are tough to like break down. Especially when they're not showing you anything exciting. And me, I can give up really quickly. If you're not doing what you say you're gonna do, or if it's just not going anywhere, sir, I'm gonna have to bounce, because you obviously aren't taking me serious. You obviously don't think that I am valuable enough to you. So me, I will take my value and run along. Yeah, 100%. I'll take it where it is valued, right? Like, where somebody can, and because the thing is I value a person's time, like, me, I'm not going to waste your time. I'll be like, oh yeah, maybe 2 hours, right? Like, I try not to waste people's time. Even when I am dating a man, I can be like, okay, cool, Friday night works, whatever, or this and that. Like, and I try to stay by my word of what I'm saying, right? But yeah, I don't know. What was the question again? I don't know. Working on things.
No, you answered it. And I think you did say in there, even when men trust in you, there's sometimes a rift in there. I think because, like, when we became friends, I could tell that you were reserved as far as not wanting to share too much at once. But also, I'm your friend. I'm a girl, so I understood the reservation. I get it.
How did you know, though? Sorry to interrupt you, but how did you know that I was reserved when we first met?
Just like certain things, when we would converse about some things, and I don't know if it's a Gemini thing, but I know one thing that you do that I do similar is we put bait out there. We do. We put bait out there and we say, okay, now let's see how they're going to handle that. Or let's see what they're going to say to me. Are they going to judge me? Are they going to make me feel bad? Although Geminis can be very judgy. So kind of like, really? But we put things out there and we see, what are you going to do with this information? And that's what I got from you. But once again, I get it. Like, you have to, it's the fear for me, right? It's the fear of you taking something about me and spreading it around town. I don't really have that problem with men. I have that problem with women. That's why I like, with women, I'm like, they're too catty for me. And not too catty, but I know sometimes when a woman gets really angry, bitch, my business might be all over the goddamn street.
Yeah, I mean.
And men can do it too, though.
That's what I was going to say, because I've had it happen to me. So.
I know.
I've always, and that's my trust in general, like men and women, which is why I have a very limited amount of friends. If you're my friend, you know it. If you're not, then whatever, right? But I like most people, right? Like most people I like. I don't really have a dislike for people unless they've done something to me. Then I'm like, I ain't messing with them. But I like most people, but friends, yes, like that's a very reserved seating, right? So yeah, I don't know. I definitely am reserved with that. I definitely keep things a little closer. Cause like I said, I've been betrayed, I've been backstabbed, I've been, had girls behind my back talk about things that they knew nothing about. So yeah.
No, for sure. So as far as the relationship aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
how did you find out a man didn't trust you, or where did you get that feeling from?
About what he says and what he does, like,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when you go somewhere and they're like, well, who's there? Or they're like, well, is there a man there? And you're like, of course there's men here. Like, we're in public, right? I don't know, duh. Like, I'm not gonna say to you, are there women there? Are there, you know what I'm saying? It's like, of course there are women there, but you have to trust the person you're with. And so that shows me they don't trust me. Also, I've had men tell me, like, you know what I mean? They'll be like, nah, you like, it ain't no way that you just walking around and ain't nobody doing this. And you're like, okay, if a man is giving me attention and he's not my man, but I have a man, I'm more than likely not going to give that other man attention because I have a man. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it to me,
Right.
to me, it's simple math because I'm not a cheater, right? Like, I'm not, yeah, like, especially in my age now, like, man, I'm in my 30s. Like, anybody got time? Like, I do not have time for that. Like, I need transparency because I'm going to be transparent with you, right? Like, yes, I may be cautious in the relationship in the beginning, but if you make me feel comfortable, then yeah. So I don't know.
No, and that falls right back into the whole insecurities and feeling not secure in your spot. And a lot of that also can come from the whole social media thing of just everything is accessible. And for those men to be that way, when you're asking, and those questions are just so juvenile. Are there men that go, yeah, there's men here. Like, are you?
Yes, there are men here, and they got their dicks out.
It's a woman's retreat. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and those are typically issues that a person has from childhood that they did not work out, and you just bring all that negative energy, all those that insecurities, like all of that into your relationship, and it ain't gonna work. And it's not gonna work with a confident woman.
No, it's not. Because listen, we all have our own issues. Like for me, I have my issues. I know the man I'm dealing with is going to bring his own set of issues. The last thing I want to be thinking about is the cheating part, right? It's like, dog, we got issues that we have to face on a daily basis. If you want to cheat, don't be with me. You know what I mean? Like that's literally going to eliminate that whole us not having a trust. Because there's going to be a lot of other things. There's going to be communication factors, right? There's going to be like life is just going to come at us. Right. So if a man is giving me that type of energy, I'm going to move on really quickly because it's going to turn me off. As soon you do that more than like 2 times, because at first it might be cute. When you first talk, you like, oh, he care. Yep. But after the second and third, I'm like, gee, I just called you. You know I don't talk to a lot of people on the phone. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. Like, I'm giving you this energy. I'm giving you time. Respect it. Don't play with me. But it also lets me know that you're probably giving your time to other people if you're accusing me so much. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you're nervous. Oh. That's where their nerves come in because they're like, well, dang, who's she talking to? Because I'm talking to Heather and Matilda and Annie. And girl, I was just thinking of all the names.
People name all the Matilda, Annie, just all the music.
Yeah. It's like, so typically when a guy is also doing that, I'm thinking they're a player because they're thinking in a player way. You know what I mean? Because any grown man that I've talked to, or a man who isn't a cheater, he is not thinking that. He's like, hey, when can we get together? Hey, okay, cool. You're having fun with your friend. Great. Hit me later.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do, boo, because I'm going to hit you right after I leave these bitches. Let me tell you.
That's a whole nother conversation. I seen something on Instagram, and it was basically like, yo, if you're a grown man, you shouldn't be hanging out with your friends the whole damn day, every damn day. Like, if you got a partner, that's where your time should be. I'm not saying all your time, but that's where your time. You should want to go home and be up underneath that.
Right. I feel like you should be spending time with the people you really want to build a future with. That's how I feel, right? Yeah. Like I talk to my family. I know they're going to be there for me, right? Or be there with me. I talk to you. I know you're going to be there for me, with me, like through this life thing. So yeah, if I get a partner, you're going to be another person I talk to. And I'm not going to have a whole bunch of, like, you're going to know I'm not going to have a whole bunch of people talking to me, especially men, unless it's about some dollars. You know what I'm saying? Wow. It's a business exchange. It's a transaction. I don't really have that many men hit me up. Like, listen, I wish my line was a little bit juicier than what's going on. You feel what I'm trying to say? But yeah, like I'm cool with, I talk to people who I really want to build with, and that's just what it is.
No, I totally agree. And I think, once again, all those things, all of that we just talked about, it literally is putting your mind in the proper mindset to have healthy relationships. So if you're catering to your mind, you can't go wrong. You better dab it like a princess.
Bro, you see me? Sorry guys, I just spilled water everywhere, so it's all over my shirt. If you're watching on YouTube, you will see the visual of Leah rubbing her breasts. Check it out. Anyway.
No. But no, this was a great conversation. I feel like this conversation can actually go on and on because it is involved in every aspect of our lives. Mm-hmm. But definitely check out, if you're looking for a therapist in your area and you've been telling yourself for the longest, I need a therapist, like I've been telling myself I need one. Mm-hmm. Find out where you need to go. Check out Leah, what she suggested for that.
Therapy for Black girls.
Therapy for Black girls.
For all my sisters out there, there's probably a therapist in your area that is in that network. So definitely go check that out. There are also a ton of other resources for finding therapists. I know if you go through your medical provider or your insurance provider more so, they will show you in-network therapists if you don't want to pay anything extra on top of the therapy. So do the research, you know what I mean? We want to be healed and to have this self-care, right? We have to heal our mental, we have to heal our hearts, right? Like we have to break these cycles, break these barriers, break down all the generational curses that were put on us all the way back in the day, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So let's do the work. We got to do the work on ourselves first before we can love and heal and be who we truly, are meant to be.
Exactly. So we have healthy kids and we're providing strong minds for the future. So definitely. But thank you everyone for joining us today on High Thoughts.
Okay. All right, y'all. We appreciate you. Peace out. Until another Tuesday. Tune in each and every Tuesday. We're here, your girls, Leah,
Tonisha.
We here every Tuesday, y'all. Check us out. High Thoughts.
Yes. Peace.